And we are going. What's going on with everybody? It is your boy, Eric, aka Young God, coming to you live in the Green Dungeon, giving it to you real raw rugged. And I got somebody on the other line. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, man. Who do we have here today?
I'm Jordan Temple, comedian, TV writer, wrote some plays. Guess I'm a playwright, you know, out here.
How you doing today, man?
I'm all right, man. They ain't get me yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm in chilling with my mom at my mom's crib, my grandma's old apartment. Got a bunch of family shit.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, was that elephants? My grandma loves elephants.
That's crazy. I definitely thought that was a Black Panther logo this whole time.
It's a black elephant logo. Then his hat's up there. You know, out here.
Hey, man, I appreciate you
That's
hopping on.
you know, it's grandma's house. When you got the footprints joint in the back, you see that?
That's hard. Is this New York?
Yeah, I'm in Queens. Yeah,
Queens. I got a question.
real New York.
I'm a Florida nigga, so I'm a down south nigga. And I always hear about like a lot of people from New York, like the older folks, they migrated from other places or whatnot. Did your people migrate from somewhere in the south, or where were they at?
My grandma's from. My grandma was from Tennille, Georgia.
Mm,
hmm
well, I ain't never heard of that. Tennille, Georgia.
Tennille, Georgia. I think James Brown spent some time there.
It's funny when people think about like Georgia who are not from like like a surrounding area of Georgia, they think about Atlanta. But I don't think anybody really understands like outside of Atlanta, there's nothing just but like it's like fucking slave plantations out there. Like that's just
Sa-
like
Savannah, Macon, Athena. Yeah, it gets a little hectic.
that's like when niggas talk about like sundown towns. Like
hmm
Kendall, Georgia is probably a sundown town.
Could be, might be.
You ever been?
Yeah. Actually have for my great grandmother's funeral.
Mm.
She's buried there in Tennille. Yeah.
That's always interesting to me. And it's funny because I had this question I was gonna ask, and I'm not asking now, so we're talking about like southern and up north stuff, but it's a debate that I've been having with a nigga I know from Michigan, and it's always like, can white people naturally sound black? And
Can black people?
no, white people
White.
naturally sound, and also vice versa. Can a black person sound white, or is it them forcing it, trying to fit in their environment? And him being from Michigan, he says no. I think yes. There's being around your environment or whatnot. And before I even get into the full question, I'll just get your opinion on that. Do you think like a white person can just sound black depending on their environment, or is it always a forced thing?
I mean, yeah, there's nur nature versus nurture, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, there's like Chet Hanks, who ostensibly raised by a Jamaican nanny and also just wants to do the patois, which is a choice. Um, and then there's like people like Eminem, who's like, you know, grew up in Detroit, and I don't know. It all depends. I don't, when I was a kid, people like, oh, you sound like all that. I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't really care. People just sound however you sound. It doesn't really matter.
I
And
agree.
I think niggas code switch so much that uh, the flexibility of it is good in a sense, but sometimes you don't even know how you sound because you code switch so much. You have like yeah, it's like, it's exhausting.
No, I agree. And I mean, get that. Like, nigga, if I'm talking to like some hood niggas, I'm using different vocabulary. If I'm talking to like fucking, Sam or something like that, it's just different. But I asked that question because it evolved to why I thought that me and him disagreed on that. And you being from New York, I told him that white people and black people from up north have very different cultures. Like diametrically opposed cultures for the most part. That's why it's like just different. And I think in the South, like very Southern white people culture is very similar to Black people culture. I don't know if you ever experienced that being in the South at all. I don't know if you ever like spent a long period of time in the South. But that was my question.
So
Have
you're
you ever
saying
noticed that?
culture, black people in the North's culture is similar to white people in the South?
No, 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 no. White people and Black people culture in the North different. I think it's the
Yeah.
opposite in the South, where Black people culture in the South and white people culture in the South share a lot of similarities, much
Mm.
different from how it is in the North. For example, the whole meme where people are like white people can't cook, white people can't cook. A lot of them can't cook. But you go down somewhere in Louisiana, them white people, they season that shit up like, you feel me? Like it's probably because they got like goddamn slave recipes and shit that was passed on. And it's just different. So I just realized a lot of parallels with white culture and Black culture in the South. And it seems to be different from people up north. So you being up north, I wanted to, I don't know if you had
Well,
any.
southern cooking is, I mean, there's like New Orleans is like Creole and like Haitian people and stuff, but a lot of the black people down south are like mostly African American. Like they only have to master one style of southern home cooking,
Mhm.
which gives less opportunity. I mean, you always, it's never going to be like good for the most part. I'm sure they could, but mostly I don't know. It's just like, yeah, stealing recipes. But like black people in the north are from everywhere. Like, my mother is African American, but my father's from Haiti. And so I grew up with a kind of spoiled a little bit on both sides, even though like my dad wasn't around like that. But when I did see him, uh, maybe like every other week or once a month or so, like I'd go with him to Jamaica, Queens, and we'd be in Rosedale, and my Haitian grandmother who spoke no English would, you know, have bomb Haitian food. And then I'd come back home to like my part of Queens and I'd be eating my Southern grandmother's food, Southern Black American grandmother's food. And so I think there's just too many recipes, too many different kinds of black people and recipes to like no white person can make good Trinidadian food or Haitian food or Jamaican food. Like there's just too many recipes and things, and they're just like not uh there it's just too spread out for them. Like they could try it, but it's if there's just one kind of food around them, that might be, more apt for them to try, even though they try everything and try to steal it and it just sucks. But I don't know. I don't be thinking about them in that regard. Like I don't eat that shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if I'm like, I'm getting soul food, I'm definitely getting it from like, you know, like a Black woman, probably like a grandma or something like that, probably cooking the best soul food of all time. So I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Uh,
I and growing up, I didn't know you were half Haitian. You said your father was Haitian, correct?
yeah, my father is Haitian. I guess half Haitian. I don't know. All nigga, half Haitian. I don't know. I don't know Creole or have any like really discernible Haitian culture, except when I'm around Haitians, like I know they're Haitians. It just gives me a sense, or I know a couple words, but like culturally, I'm not Haitian, you know, culturally.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask. Like, did you identify as that growing up?
I mean, I wish it was more of my identity. Like wish I spoke Creole. Like I am Haitian, but I'm not like culturally Haitian.
Yeah.
Um, I wish I was more. Probably something more I could adopt. So if I spoke Creole, it's a language thing, it's a food thing, it's a music thing, it's a lot of different things. So yeah, I
It's
don't know.
interesting because I don't know how it was up there, but like down here in Florida, like if a nigga was Haitian growing up, like a nigga was getting like picked on for being Haitian. Like, oh, this nigga dirty, this nigga like, nasty, this nigga Haitian. But like I always say, like when Kodak Black came out, everybody and their mom turned to a Haitian nigga. And it was interesting because he made people. It was like niggas that were not Haitian. They turned Haitian down here, and it was just interesting to see how people
I
embrace that.
mean, there were always Haitians. The thing about rap culture too is like they'll pick the most, like, African Americans themselves are oppressed, but like rappers, there was a certain time, and I think it's still out there. Rap loves to like take the most, what they think is like oppressed group, even more than them, and send them out to do their bidding a little bit. Like at one point in rap music, when Haitians, they stopped being like dirty or whatever you're saying or picked on, they became goons. Like every rapper in the South and everywhere else talked about having a Haitian goon or a Haitian shooter, because they were like, yeah, they'll just do anything. They'll do their bidding. And they're like, I mean, I definitely don't like it, but I also know like Haiti is the poorest country in the world. So that's like that's what it's speaking to, like a group of oppressed people who will do anything. You know what I mean? And that's like, I don't know. It's like fucked up. Like it bothers me for sure, but it's like, I don't know. It's like the most unwanted, you know, group of people that is always like blamed on them. Like even in Mexico, there were like black, like African Americans who were kidnapped, and people are like, oh, like look at these, oh, the Haitians did. It's like, do you know how they got there? It's because no place wants them. Like they're not raising primary or getting people, you know what I mean? Because of that. Like that's fucked up. But yeah, nobody cares. Um they're like such a displaced group, Haitians. But also resilient, and I've brought a lot of culture to this country. And also, the first slave free independent black nation, which has been punished and still owes a lot of money to France and is in debt by virtue of its own achieving its own revolution. So, you know,
I
it's
never
a lot
thought
to be.
about my fault. I mean, cut you off.
Man, it was a, yeah.
No, I was gonna say I never thought about it. But yes, like people do talk about like I got my Zoe, like my Haitian, like Haitian killers or whatever. Like niggas talk about Haitian niggas like Haitian niggas are the boogeyman. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want me to get my
Yeah,
Haitian niggas. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Like that's almost like I'm finna go get my big brother. You know what I'm saying? But I'm finna go get my Haitian
yeah,
nigga. So
yeah,
that is pretty interesting. I will say though, I don't know if you are familiar with Makami.
yeah. I love Makami.
Great hey, shot. I feel like I've learned a lot about Haitian history through listening to Makami. So
He's very smart. He's
uh,
very, he's a good rapper. He reps Haiti well. He speaks Creole. He's good. I love that he always has his face masked up with the Haitian flag. He's putting on. He's big Haitian.
shout out to Mock. And it's funny,
Yeah.
speaking of face coverings, it's kind of how I found you. As I was telling you a little bit, that my friend sent me you, and he was like, this nigga's pretty funny. And I forget what clip it was, like from what special or wherever it was from. And I don't want to butcher the joke, but it was a joke about ninjas and Muslim women. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Yeah.
It's a really, really funny joke. And that was like my intro to you. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this guy's funny. And ever since, I've just been keeping up with you. And you're a very talented guy. So before we get too deep, I just wanted to let you know, I think you're super duper talented, man. You're crazy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I mean, I don't joke. I don't tell that joke anymore. Kind of like it does not like split the room, but it's transgressive. I think in a interesting way. Like I get one on end people like this is how it is, and people be like, "You're Islamophobic," and I'm like, "Ah, I can take that. I can hold that. I don't want to be ignorant. But I also am like, if it's dividing the room, then it's for people who like it and other people to think about. Like I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I like kind of jokes that where I tell and people are like upset with themselves for laughing,
Yeah.
and that's the point. Like, not like I'm always trying to be transgressive or be like, oh, shock factor, but I don't know. I also want to be surprising.
Do you identify with this? I remember a minute ago, I used to love Daniel Tosh, and I remember he had a joke. I forget what it was about. It was something about black people, and he was like, "I can't tell that joke in the South." He was like, "Because it's a very fine line with people thinking like this is funny, and on the other side, like, ooh, this feels like a rally." He was like, it made total line. So, do you ever sense like a room is not like that's not like a good place to tell a joke, or do you always tell jokes in whatever room you're in? Like, it's always like, do you ever deviate from jokes depending on the crowd?
I will. Sometimes I'll even my friend was telling me the other night, like I'll concede a little bit. Whereas like I'm trying to or I'm thinking through my set and I kind of like give into the audience depending on their reaction. I'm like, that wasn't a reaction I wanted, but also like no, based on the host or whoever's before me, whatever, like I'm like, they're probably not gonna like me as much. Like those jokes that they were telling are like very surface or they're just like easy or just like quick. And I'm like, not like I like to like build to like a big laugh instead of get cheap ones. You know
Mm,
what I mean? I'd rather get like several big laughs a set than a bunch of little ones or ones that just feel like right there. Like I'm trying to like surprise people. Um and I don't know, I do that with TV writing too. It's all a process of like whatever I'm doing. I don't think I'm always doing that, but that's like the goal. Like I don't want to be um I want to like just improve and be able to stand out from other people.
what was your first year of stand up comedy?
My first year was 2013.
Really?
I did it for 4 years and then I got my first writing job, partially writing a play, and then that I also starred in and cast, which was dope. Um, Several of my friends got rep from there. One of my friends actually is like she got rep and she's like doing like movies and stuff. She's killing it. Um, and yeah, that's like the whole purpose of it. Like show, it's a showcase. Um, and so yeah,
Hey, well, salute on the 10-year mark, right?
give or take the pandemic, I'm more like at 8 or 9. Like I feel like I had not like a setback, but like the pandemic made me like reset. Like I feel like I'm still at year 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is 10-year mark, but it's also like, you know, I didn't perform for like as many people did for like a while. Like I had big gaps. But yeah, more or less 10 years, since I started.
It's crazy. I for sure thought you were doing it a little bit longer than that. So that's a comment because I thought you were doing it longer than 2013. Because I was going to ask you since you started, like speaking of like deviate from crowds or whatever, have you noticed any like shifts with the crowd? Like we're just like I guess we're like in 2013 we're at a different just like political atmosphere than we were now. So like do you feel any different vibes from crowds when certain jokes are told from when it was 2013 to 2023, or is it all the same? Like are people overreacting with like, oh, I can't say these jokes anymore?
I don't know. I think I used to be a lot more experimental and weird. I think I used to be like I had a joke about Dadaism in my first year. I had this joke where I was like, man, they call Subway sandwich employees sandwich artists. The Subway employees are sandwich artists. They're the Dadaists of the sandwich art making community. You know, so they keep experimenting and fucking up my sandwiches. Say that shit, and he used to like kill in certain. like alti rooms, and like I would like pick and choose, which ones could work in different settings. But it was nice to be able to just switch it up like that. And then other ones where I'm like, this is more traditional stand up. But I don't know. I like doing shit like that.
It's interesting because it's like content in general. So like if you do that Dada joke in Florida, I think that wouldn't go well because nobody would know what that is, and nobody would know what Dadaism is. Most likely in a random just like room in Florida. I feel like New York is a much more cultured place that would know what that is. And it's interesting because a joke like that will fulfill you more, but a joke that a super duper kill might be a joke that you didn't even really think that was that crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's just content in general because when you see a lot of content on YouTube, music, whatever, a lot of stuff that's popping off isn't the Makamis where it's like this nigga's rapping at this unbelievable level. That nigga said he's so fly, he made Meghan Markle hop out and get the Duchess. That's crazy. Like shit like that need to be put. They need to put that in a hip hop museum. But the stuff that you'll see popping off is almost like the fast food stuff, the stuff that is like easy, quick to get. So yeah, I don't know. I just say all that to say that I feel you. Like a lot of like you kind of have to almost clickbait certain content to get views, and the things that don't fulfill you the most will get the most views, but the things that you think is like amazing, to get like a response. You feel that at all or no?
I don't know. I think it's just like personal preference. Yeah, I think shit. My sense of humor is not supposed to be for everybody, but if it's broad and people laugh, I know that's for that certain audience. Like it can't be for everybody. If it's for everybody all the time, like I don't want to do it. Like it's fine if it is, and a lot of people like it, but I don't really care.
It's funny. So I watched Trini to the Bone 3 times.
Mm.
First time, I didn't like it. Honestly speaking, I thought it was. I just think I was like, I don't get this. I was like, I don't know where this is going. The second time, I liked it a little bit more. And the third time,
What made you want to watch it again after you didn't like it the first time?
so it's the because I really liked Atlanta. So that was like one of the first episodes that just did not click with me. And I was like, I don't get this. So I wanted to give it another chance because I like the show. So it's like I'll give it another. And I had no idea you wrote this, and I know who you are, but like before this, I had no idea who you wrote this stuff. So I was like, I didn't like it. So I gave it a second chance. The third time I gave it a chance because I was going to interview you again. I was going to interview you now. So I was like, let me give this a proper third watch to be fair. And the third watch, I would say I definitely liked it the most. I don't feel like I would ever appreciate it. I feel like a Jamaican nigga or a Trinidadian nigga might appreciate it way more than I will. Cause that's just like a lot of that is foreign to me in that episode. Going up with a Jamaican nanny or going to a Jamaican funeral, like all that is foreign to me. So I think that was a big
They
reason
were
why
they
I
were
enjoyed Trinidad.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Hey, you see how foreign it was to me? I'm calling it Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? So that's how
Right, right.
foreign it was to me. So I think going back to you saying like just doing what you want and it's not for everybody. That first time it was completely over my head. And did you think it would be like that when writing it, or like what was your thought process writing that on how it would connect to the audience?
I was just hoping people. I waited so long for that hoe to come out, like almost 2 years. That I was psyched just to be able to watch it. I watched the director's cut so many times. I was obsessed with it, showing all my friends. I was just grateful that it was out. I mean, it wasn't what people expected or wanted, but I was like, or at the characters or whatever. But like, I still could say I wrote an Atlanta episode, whether people fuck with it or not. I'm like, well, you do it, So I'm just happy that I did it and
Ah,
that it's open.
so is that
Yeah,
like that was last year, right? When I premiered?
yeah, that was like almost exactly a year ago.
Exactly. That was April, if I'm not mistaken. So fast forward to 2023 April. Like, what are your thoughts looking back at that episode? Like, I know you said like you're glad that you got to write an Atlanta episode, but are you in love with it? Do you wish things were different with it? Like, where are you with that episode now, a year later?
I don't think about it. I don't really think about it. Um, I'm trying to move on and do other shit. It's cool. It was a moment in time, but it's over.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. And I couldn't find anywhere we were talking about this, but how did that even happen where you were producing on Atlanta? Like, how did that even start?
I mean, it's all under the umbrella of writer, but that's just the credit, so you can get the bump and you can get the money.
Gotcha.
And obviously you set production meetings, or I had a couple over Zoom or whatever. So that was cool. I got like a hot 5 minutes too. I'll let you know.
Getting
Yeah. Nah, but it's dope. But yeah, I um just got um I got an interview from a recommendation from a friend, and it ended up turning into something. So, and I got the job, which was cool. Yeah.
one of the things that was pretty cool to me about the last season of Atlanta, which I see you follow them, so I would imagine you're aware of the show. But it was almost like a crossover. I forget which episode it was, but Kevin Iso was on an episode, and Flatbush
Yeah.
Flatbush Misdemeanor is one of my favorite shows. That like favorite new shows, and it paralleled a lot of Atlanta. It was like a New York Atlanta almost, like it was in their own version, like with them swagging it out. And I don't know, just seeing Kevin was a that was a cool sight to see because I was like, oh man, like I always like compared these shows, like it was a cool thing to see or whatever. So, um,
Yeah. It
yeah,
did feel like it was full circle because Kevin's a friend of mine, and they actually did when they were doing Flatbush Misdemeanors as a sketch or like on YouTube proof of concept or whatever. They did an episode projects, or they did a sketch rather projects, like in front of my old project building, like several years and years and years ago. And I made a cameo in it, which is fun. But um, yeah, it felt like a full circle moment. Also, because like that sense depth concept is something like they asked me about because I do sensory deprivation semi frequently, and I've been a, like a flow practitioner, you could say, like since maybe 2017, and my first time was like 2012 or some shit like that. So they like the room, they kind of use that as like the structure or whatever. Like I told them, like you know, the basically what happens in there.
so you
What?
recommend it?
Huh?
Do you recommend it to people?
I would recommend it, yeah. Um, but yeah, the room was just like, hey, yeah. And I was just like, I'd always talk about floating, so that became the float episode, I guess.
Hey man, I will let you go to sleep. I got one more question for you because you
Yeah.
about yawned out for the day. I was watching your interview to Hot 97, and I laughed because it was a comment on my favorite scene. Nigga said, he said, nigga, I thought this was John Jones, the UFC nigga, and you look nothing like
Ha.
John Jones. So I don't know where the fuck they got that from. But my question for you is, I heard you were talking about rapping, that you did a little rapping back in the day. What do you listen to now?
Um, I mean, I was on that I was on a Vince Staples kick for a while. Um, I'm friends with the homies Paris, Texas. I fuck with their shit. Uh, I'm liking this um Benny Sings album. I've been getting into that. Uh, some pleasant shit. I feel like I need to reset my brain a little bit, just in terms of like honestly getting off the phone a bit, and also just like not listening to so much music with lyrics.
Mm.
Like I don't like anytime I'm in a car or I'm somewhere, like I'm trying to like a podcast or like classical music, like I just feel like so overstimulated. So yeah.
Hey man, any last words you guys say for the people? I appreciate you hopping on, man. If you got anything else to say for the people, let it be known.
Well, I'll just say whatever anyone's doing in the world to be encouraged and to know that there are things that you can do that other people can't. And that was the thing that Donald wrote on the board first day of Atlanta. He was like, he wrote, do what others can. He's like, this is our goal. And there's a combination of things that you can do to separate yourself from competition. You don't have to compete with anyone but yourself. So there's a combination of things you can do that other people cannot do that makes the things you bring to the field and anything you're doing wholly fresh and original. I like to, as much as I can, leave out special and unique because I think that's just ah, it just feels a little icky. It's just like it's not real. Like I think fresh and unique and like um or like originally you, like rather than special or unique. Like I just think it's just overwrought with like pretentiousness that shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
They're trying to make art, and that's not to be like, oh, holier than thou, but there's like too much pressure already. And especially if you're black, like people are already going to tell you you're not that. So to be told that is to be like, well, you're different from them. And it's like black people already have enough infighting that's created by white people who black people tell themselves that they don't need that kind of thing, but we all have a white cop in our head that we're fighting.
Mm.
And so it's better to be like wholly originally me and like authentically black, however that means, whatever that means to you, like however you choose to represent yourself outside of whatever the monolith is considered as unique or is originally black, like, and is authentically you, and to be encouraged. That's what I would say, honestly.
It's a beautiful way to close out this interview, man. I appreciate that, man. For everybody watching, appreciate you guys watching. I'm about to go watch Abbott Elementary after we're done with this, which is something else you worked on. So, shout
Yeah,
out to you,
this
man.
episode is mine.
The what
This
you said
last
again?
this last one from last night I wrote.
Okay, hey man, gotta check that out. For everybody watching, appreciate it. Until next time, I say what I mean what I say. Haters gonna hate, players gonna play. You guys holla at your boy.